Miami, 1970s, the cocaine capital of the world. In this underworld of violence and power, one name stood above the rest: Griselda Blanco. Known as the Cocaine Godmother, her story is one of unparalleled ambition, unimaginable cruelty, and secrets that will leave you speechless. The early years, from poverty to power. Griselda Blanco was born into poverty in Cartagena, Colombia, in 1943. Her childhood was a nightmare of abuse and desperation. By the age of 11, she had committed her first murder, allegedly kidnapping and killing a boy from a wealthy family for ransom. This early act of violence set the stage for a life defined by ruthlessness. By her teens, Blanco had moved to Medellin, where she quickly became involved in petty crimes, pickpocketing, and prostitution. But Blanco had her sights set on something bigger. In the 1970s, she made her move to New York City, where she began smuggling cocaine into the United States. Using clever disguises and secret compartments in clothing, she built a network that would soon make her one of the most powerful drug lords in history. Her ingenuity in smuggling operations wasn't just creative, it was groundbreaking. Blanco reportedly invented methods that even modern-day traffickers continue to replicate. Whether it was hollowed-out shoes or secret compartments in baby carriages, her methods evaded law enforcement for years. The rise of the Cocaine Godmother, Griselda Blanco, didn't just participate in the drug trade, she transformed it. She pioneered the use of drug mules, recruiting women, children, and even elderly people to smuggle cocaine in hidden compartments. Her methods were so effective that she was soon smuggling hundreds of kilos of cocaine every month. Blanco's genius lay in her ability to adapt. She saw the potential of the U.S. market long before others did and capitalized on Miami's booming nightlife to flood the city with cocaine. Her success earned her the nickname La Madrina, or the Godmother. But her rise came at a bloody cost. One of Blanco's most infamous acts was the creation of the motorcycle assassins, hitmen who carried out drive-by shootings on motorcycles. This method became her signature, and it terrorized Miami during the cocaine cowboy era. Blanco's enemies didn't just fear her, they knew that crossing her meant certain death. She also became infamous for her extravagant spending. Blanco owned mansions, luxury cars, and a private jet. Her wealth was a testament to her dominance in the drug trade, but it also drew attention from authorities who began to close in on her empire. The shocking violence. Griselda Blanco's reign was defined by shocking brutality. She was known to eliminate anyone who stood in her way, including her own family members. One chilling story tells of how she ordered the murder of her own husband, Alberto Bravo, in a public shootout in Bogotá. It's said that the two argued over missing millions, and Blanco didn't hesitate to pull the trigger herself. Another horrifying tale involves Blanco's alleged use of children as human shields during assassination attempts. She believed that her enemies wouldn't dare shoot if children were nearby, a tactic that underscores her ruthless and calculating nature. Blanco's body count is estimated to be in the hundreds, with some suggesting it could be as high as 2,000. She ruled with fear, and her enemies and even her allies knew that loyalty to her was a matter of life and death. Even within her organization, Blanco's paranoia ran deep. She was known to have associates tortured and killed if she suspected betrayal. Her reign turned Miami into a war zone, with murders becoming a daily occurrence during the height of her power. One of the most shocking stories tied to Blanco involved her twisted sense of revenge. It's rumored that she once ordered the murder of a rival's entire family as retribution for an insult, a grim example of the lengths she would go to protect her empire. The downfall, betrayal, and capture. By the 1980s, Blanco's empire was crumbling. The DEA had launched an intensive investigation into her operations, and her lavish lifestyle made her an easy target. In 1985, she was arrested in Irvine, California, ending her reign as the Cocaine Godmother. While in prison, Blanco continued to pull the strings of her organization. She plotted hits from behind bars, ensuring that her influence was felt even as she served her time. But betrayal was inevitable. Former associates turned informants, providing the DEA with the evidence needed to dismantle what remained of her empire. Her capture marked the end of an era, but Blanco remained defiant. She spent nearly 2 decades in prison, refusing to admit guilt and showing no remorse for the lives her empire had destroyed. Her ability to command respect and fear, even while incarcerated, spoke to her unparalleled power. The final chapter, Death of the Godmother. After serving nearly 2 decades in prison, Blanco was deported to Colombia in 2004. Many assumed she would fade into obscurity, but her name still carried weight in the underworld. However, her past caught up with her. In 2012, Blanco was gunned down outside a butcher shop in Medellin. In a twist of irony, her assassin used a motorcycle, the very method she had pioneered decades earlier. Her death marked the end of an era, but her legacy endures. Griselda Blanco's life was a chilling example of the extremes of power, greed, and violence. She didn't just break the rules, she rewrote them, leaving behind a trail of blood and a story that continues to captivate the world. Epilogue, The Cost of Power. Griselda Blanco's story is one of ambition turned deadly, of a woman who rose from nothing to become one of the most feared figures in the history of crime. But her empire was built on fragile foundations, and in the end, even the Cocaine Godmother couldn't escape the violence she created. Her name remains etched in history, a stark reminder of the price of power. Thanks for watching this episode of Underworld Chronicles. If you enjoyed uncovering the dark secrets of crime history, make sure to hit that SubsCrime button and join our growing family of true crime enthusiasts. Don't miss out. New stories drop every week. Keep exploring, watch the other videos, and dive deeper into the world of crime. Let us know in the comments what story you'd like to see next. Until then, stay tuned for more tales from the underworld.